of 83. Winds could gust up to 40 miles an hour. We'll see evening rain and storms then become likely, then transitioning to all rain overnight with a low down to 56. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Adam Roberts on 94.5 ESPN.
This is Brian Balaga. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN.
94.5 ESPN is WKTI and WKTI HD Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You're going to have a lot of bait fish. They're about 4 inches, and they're just going to go in a circle around the light. There's probably 200 of them, 200 to 300 of them. Like, oh, wow, look at that. That's cool.
George, watch out for those pigeons.
Oh, don't get out of the way. You really smell banana?
Oh, my God.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, this 5-foot shark comes with its mouth open and goes right through the middle of them, takes a bite, and I almost soiled myself. I'm like, there is no way I'm getting in the water.
You ran over some pigeons. How many?
Whatever they had. Miranda thinks I'm a butcher, but it's not my fault, is it? Don't we have a deal with the pigeons?
So I can't go out of the front of the house at night, and I can't go in the water ever.
Of course we have a deal. They get out of the way of our cars. We look the other way on the statue defecation.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight. He ain't doing nothing but running his mouth. Talk about it, we all about it. They making plans, we sit and count. Our chairs stacked just like a mountain. You heard about it, she running her mouth.
What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is a good old-fashioned word off. It's a term off. Term, word, because we got one side saying one thing and we got one side saying another. Let me explain. Yesterday, Dan Orlovsky, ESPN, posted a tweet about Jordan Love. The tweet that he posted was like a drive-by. It was like a, he set the wheels down and then took right back off again. The tweet from Dan Orlovsky said this: anyone who says Jordan Love regressed last year doesn't look at quarterback play properly. Thanks. Have an awesome day. I trust Dan Orlovsky's quarterback breakdowns. I trust his analysis.
I think he's a douche.
And then there's that.
In defense of Jason. I'm aligned with Jason. How's that?
All right.
Got your guys back. I appreciate that.
Team Jason.
So when I say we have a word off, we have a term off. We got one camp who is trying to defend what I believe to be a straw man, which is this group, this population that says that Jordan Love regressed from 2024 to 2025. The reality is, Gabe, Jordan Love was injured in 2025. Jordan Love was not injured in 2024. In 2024, Jordan Love played his best football for a sizable stretch. We keep going back to those 8 games, and the numbers back that up, right? We thought, whoa, this sky's the limit. But then he didn't play that well in 2025. Now, I suppose in some dictionary world, you can sit there and go, he regressed. I genuinely don't believe...
If you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
You're not first or last.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
I genuinely believe that's not the argument. I don't think that people are out here clamoring and banging the drum saying Jordan Love regressed. Jordan Love regressed. What I do think people are saying, Dan Orlovsky et al., Matt LaFleur, is he didn't get better. And are we smart enough people, are we smart enough fans, Mark Chimura, that we can distinguish between Jordan Love regressed and let's, be the boogeyman and let's fight that argument, and Jordan Love didn't get better from that stretch we saw him in 2024 to the season in 2025?
Yeah, trust your eyes. Trust your eyes and then go to the numbers. And the numbers back it up, But when it comes to Orlovsky, I want to hear it from Steve Young or Troy Aikman. I'm sorry. I just do. Okay? I've had coaches like this that are just like, players will always revert to coaches or analyst who walk the walk. Okay? And I don't want to disparage, but I mean, it's just a douchebag comment. Wouldn't you agree? I'm smarter than everyone. Have a nice day. Trust my eyes, not yours.
It's film arrogance, Chew.
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
That's the 41st entry into the arrogance
We don't know as good as the film grinders. They're watching football the right way. We are simply looking at stats and basing it on our feelings.
I mean, I guarantee his biggest point, well, the drops. Well, every team has drops. Some have more than others. But like I said, that's not going to move the needle 9 points when it comes to
passer rating
completion
or QBR?
percentage.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, completion percentage, got it.
It's not going to move it. Red zone. I don't know what the breakdown is, but my guess is the year before they were better in the red zone. Interceptions, my guess is 2 years ago, which we know, he didn't throw interceptions. So it's just such a condescending statement by him. I don't like him. And you know what? If he was right in front of my face, I would tell him I don't like him. Okay?
I don't know if anyone's ever disputed the fact that you would tell somebody something right to their face.
Breaking news here on
I think
Jed
I've always
Gaben's
been
tweet.
very confident that you will always say something right to someone's face.
Oh, you know what? The only reason you think that, Josh, is because you were not in a meeting with us a few years ago, okay?
Josh,
Had you been in that meeting, you change your tune real quick.
No, I'm just trying to push him to do it someday, whenever he gets the opportunity.
You don't really need to push him. Like, go like this. Okay?
Yeah.
Just give him a little.
See, the thing is, I would say, hey, Josh, I'm back on Monday. But Josh don't care. He knows I'm kind of I'm kind of a blowhard, right?
He knows you can't actually intimidate
Yes,
Josh the way you
exactly.
intimidate part-time Will.
Yeah. So, as soon as I read it, I was just like, guys.
Well, that's the one thing I would just wish he would put, like, all right, Dan, tell me why. Like, okay, you're grinding over the film. You put out clips all the time on social media. Instead of just doing the drive-by, give me the reasons why. Show me the backup.
And there are times, I will tell you this, there are times that the media gets it wrong just because they don't know the intricacies of routes and things like that and who progression is. And there are times that, a quarterback throws a pick and the receiver is wrong. Just wrong. But I
I've
don't
said this
really
before.
see it.
I've said this before, Chew. I really enjoy watching J.T. O'Sullivan. Is that who it is?
Yes.
The guy who does the quarterback school? Because he will say, now, I don't know what the progression was here, but my guess is, having been under center, having done this before, it was supposed to go this. If I'm wrong, like, he will disclaim the plays that way, which I really appreciate. He's saying, like, I don't know all the information, but if I had to guess, this is how it was supposed to go. This is what the read was.
The only person who has all, or the only entity that has all the information is the team that called the play.
Okay, here, I'll give you a quick class on progressions, okay? Progressions always go from top to bottom. They always go top to bottom. But the deep route is typically number one, but he may be out of the loop before the ball's even snapped based upon coverages. So they know where they want to get the ball, but most times where you want to get the ball is to the second guy in progression. And then that changes zone to man. So let's say the third route, the third receiver, the third progression is purely a man beater. Where you're expecting zone, it's man, then you know to go to number 3 right away. So progressions, I could tell you what the progressions are, but it's based upon coverage and things like that. Or if the guy's falls down or isn't open.
When it comes to Jordan Love, I think that we as a show need to change the narrative. Because, again, I think we get lost in the nuance of, has Jordan Love regressed? The simple question is, did Jordan Love play well enough for this team to accomplish his goals last year?
He did not. And again, we talk all the time about the responsibility, heavy the head that wears the crown, the responsibility of the quarterback position, fair or unfair. But you have to elevate your team. That is a standard that is number one with a bullet, the responsibility of the quarterback. And if you look again with the eyeballs, Jordan didn't do that. And so that's where I get frustrated with, we're not saying Jordan Love regressed. Jordan Love regressed. We're saying he didn't get better and he didn't put the team on his back in those critical moments, whether it's moving the chains, whether it's getting a win. He wasn't the guy that was able to get it done. And that, to me, is the most important metric. You can throw out all these other things, completion percentage, third down, red zone, all of them. And I'm sitting there going, when their backs were against the wall, when the going got tough, or whatever cliche you want to throw out there, did Jordan Love do enough, Gabe, to get them over the hump, to get them across the finish line?
No, and he needs to be better. I mean, I've been saying that all offseason. If the Packers want to get to where they go, he's got to be better. And that's not to say he's been bad. He just needs to be better. You need to have somebody who's looked at as a top-flight quarterback in this league. And if you put Jordan in the top 10, I'm assuming you're putting him in the back part of that top 10. Like, he's not knocking on the door of the top 5. And he needs to be, I mean, Chewy, you point this out, especially with the contract. He needs to be knocking on the door of that top 5, be in that conversation in order for this team to go where they need to go, because that's how important quarterback play is. Well, again, whether that's fair or unfair, that's just the reality of the situation. Quarterback play is that important in the NFL.
All people need to look at last year, all people need to look at is if Jaden Daniels has an average year, they're not close to the playoffs. In the rankings at the beginning of the season last year had them as like the 30th most talented team. Mm-hmm. That's what a quarterback can do for you. That's when a quarterback is playing outside of his mind. That's what Jordan Love did 2 years ago in the last 8 games of the year. Right? We're not saying he's terrible. We're not saying he's bad. We're just saying, hey, we know it's in there. It's in there somewhere. And he didn't bring it out last year.
Completely agree with you, Chew. I think that is a great way of putting it, because we have seen flashes of brilliance, right? And if nothing else, a cumulative chunk, right? Because you can sit there and go, oh, random, oh, here and there. No, a chunk of brilliance, a chunk of greatness. So again, the idea is not this necessarily that he took a step back, but he didn't take the requisite step forward. And I know growth is not linear. It doesn't always go in the upward trajectory towards the goal. But in this instance, we have a season's worth. Yes, he was injured. Yes, there were drops. There were issues, right? We talk about Jaden Reed having trouble against man. Like, there's all sorts of things with the complementary pieces. But the other thing I will continue saying is you're not doing Jordan Love any favors by couching the reality. You're not like, I don't know if Dan thinks he's helping Matt LaFleur out by supporting his position that he had last week, or if Matt LaFleur thinks he's helping his quarterback out by picking him up. But there needs to be some honesty about taking that next step and how important and required it is. I want to get to Chris Canty, who was talking about this on Unsportsmanlike this morning, because, of course, Dan puts the tweet out, so now people are going, well, wait a minute. Did we misinterpret? Did we misread this situation? Here's what Chris Canty and the Unsportsmanlike crew had to say this morning about Jordan Love.
I can't give him a pass on the inconsistency due to the injury in 2024 because of what I saw in 2023. It's an uncomfortable fact pattern for Jordan Love. Last year, he had 6 games with a passer rating below 90. Same thing the year before that in 2023. For context, league average when it comes to passer rating was 94 in 2024. There were 21 quarterbacks last season that averaged a passer rating north of 90. It's too inconsistent. Jordan Love doesn't show up for a third of the season, and that's across 2 years. When I'm paying a guy $55 million a year, that is problematic. He is set up for success. He's got the head coach. He's got the offensive line in front of him. The Green Bay Packers went out and spent a bunch of money on Josh Jacobs last year in the offseason, which is counter on a couple of different fronts for them, right? Number one, the Packers typically don't spend a lot of money in free agency, so there's that. But then also, NFL teams don't spend big when it comes to running backs, period. The Green Bay Packers bucked that trend because they got a quarterback that they believed in.
Chew, do you agree with Canty?
Yeah. No, that was very good. But I would also, I don't know if it's blame, but I think, and we've said it a bunch, I think LaFleur kind of had to figure this out because he thought it would be easier sledding than it actually was when it came to the passing game. And then the running became so good that he kind of pivoted away. So I think he should be better this year because he should have figured it out. Like, all right, Our running game is great. We invested in the offensive line. Hopefully these guys show up and all play. I need to marry the two together better, the run game and the pass game. So I think from that standpoint, it'll be better. I think LaFleur went through a little struggle there early on in the season because he thought the passing game would be much better.
We got to get to Jason Wilde, too, and I think that I want to wrap this conversation, and I'm sure we'll bring it up with Jason, by saying this. No one on this show, no one on this network is saying Jordan Love is ass. What we're saying is, in order to be a top flight team in the NFC, the quarterback has to play better. He needs to continue growing. He needs to continue evolving. So this narrative of saying Jordan Love regressed last season, we understand all of the variables that were associated with Jordan Love's success last year. We also think time to click it up a notch. Time to show everybody what we saw the previous season for those final 8 games. We'll get to Jason Wilde right after this.
Here's your chance to try an all-new pizza. And honestly, this is one of my favorite things about Palermo's is they're willing to try so many different things. Ragu frozen pizzas are now available at Sendik's, and they're on sale. 2 for $9 for a limited time through today. Try them all. Cheese, combination, pepperoni, and supreme. Enjoy these pizzeria-inspired crusts topped with Ragu-inspired sauces and your favorite family-pleasing toppings. It's Italian heritage and a convenient family-favorite food at an affordable price. Try the new Ragu frozen pizzas through today. 2 for $9 at your local Sendik's.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
This morning on 4145 North, that's because of a crash at Highway 100 that's blocking the left lane. I would recommend taking Highway 100 north from 94 if that's your travel destination out of the city, and then get back on the freeway at Burleigh. It's also slow on 4145 South from just north of Appleton Avenue all the way down to Capitol Drive, and volume's picking up right now on 94 East and West between Mitchell Boulevard and 27 through the stadium, and on 43 just north of downtown heading up to about Keefe. And checking the storm team forecast, breezy, warm, and humid today, a high of 83. Winds could gust up to 40 miles an hour. We'll see evening rain and storms then become likely, then transitioning to all rain overnight with a low down to 56. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Adam Roberts on 94.5 ESPN.
Hey, it's ESPN Milwaukee's Brad Nortman. A big focus in America today is your health. And you can't be fully healthy if you are not physically mobile to do the things you want to do. If you're someone that keeps on experiencing that joint pain, then you need to visit QC Kinetics. When I go to QC Kinetics' Greenfield location, I am amazed at everything that they have to give you your life back and finally fix that pain that you're experiencing. Everything they do is top of the line. From the free consultation where you can get an ultrasound of your joints and see what is nagging you in real time, to the effective and long-lasting treatments of PRP and stem cells that they offer to give you long-lasting pain relief. Be one of the tens of thousands of other patients who now have a pain-free life because of the treatments they received at QC Kinetics. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
If you're a motorist of the four-wheel variety, please watch out for those of us in Wisconsin who do their traveling on 2 wheels. Adjust your mirrors to reduce your blind spots. Allow motorcyclists a full lane width. Use your turn signal when merging or changing lanes. And allow more following distance between you and the motorcycle. Motorists and motorcyclists can work together to achieve 0 preventable deaths on Wisconsin roads. 0 in Wisconsin. Together we can save lives. Learn more at zeroinwisconsin.gov. Wisconsin DOT.
Monica, we've got to hand it to you.
You and the design team have outdone yourselves.
Are you talking about the One collection?
Those rings say you are the one.
And they say it symbolically.
Describe the symbols.
Every ring in the One collection should be presented with a special ritual.
What would that ritual be?
You pick up her left hand and you place a kiss on her ring finger.
Rick, you never told me about that part.
Then you show her the tiny red diamond, flush-mounted inside the ring, that will forever be in contact with her finger.
Why is it red?
Because that's when the giver says to the one, wherever you go, my heart goes with you.
I give you this kiss. I give you my heart.
The red diamond is a secret symbol of that sacred moment.
The center diamond on the outside of the ring is for the whole world to see.
But the tiny red created diamond inside the ring is only for the two of them.
the one collection of engagement rings is available exclusively at Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you,
Visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Ready, down, put. All Packers, all the time.
He was a field tilting player, and the reason why Gabe and many others are so concerned is that this guy's on the field, he changes the offensive dynamic. They are a different offense when he is there.
Okay, most of the time.
You know, Homer calls Matt LaFleur soft all the time. Matt LaFleur is like Vince Lombardi compared to me.
It's Jason Wilde on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You know, it's days like this that I am particularly excited to get some insight from Jason Wilde. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
We're good. We were just discussing the Dan Orlovsky tweet, which was, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I want to make sure that I'm not attaching anyone else to it. I love that the chuckle. I feel like he is fighting a straw man. This word regressed has been thrown out there, and it's very, salacious, and people are like, regressed, Jordan Love regressed. But I don't think that we have been arguing that. I think we've been saying Jordan Love did not get better. Jordan Love was not a better version of himself last season than the version we saw of him at the end of the previous season. I think that has been the crux of it. And as the quarterback, he is responsible for, at least on some level, helping the team evolve as a whole. And so, I said at the beginning of the show, we're in a bit of a word off here. We're in a bit of a term off, but I feel very strongly about the nuance here.
Yeah, I just think he was being kind of a jerk about how he handled this topic. He can straw man, semantics. I don't appreciate. I mean, you can have your opinion. I don't really appreciate you telling anyone who doesn't have the same opinion that we're stupid by comparison. Couple things. First of all, I saw this, and I was going to text you guys because I knew I'd be on today. Can one of you start, since I still have fear of having the wrong number for Chewy in my phone, could one of you start a group, Wilde plus JGC, with the four of us on there, or five of us, include Joshy,
I'm on it.
Yeah,
so
okay,
I can
Joshy, you got
communicate
it?
with you guys?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
737-0089. That's not it. That was my old Primeco number. Remember Primeco, Jason?
No, what is Primeco?
Primeco was a phone carrier.
Yeah.
Jason, did you know this, though? That everyone's number was attached, had a 00. George Coons was 0053.
Because he wore
Robert
53.
Brooks, 0087. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not here to tell the Packers how to do things back in 1996 or whatever it is, but it sure as hell made it easy to send you guys, to call you guys. I don't even know if we had text messaging. I think you had to push the number 1 4 times to get to the capital A and stuff. But yes, that was great. It was great for those of us trying to contact you. Unfortunately, the only one that did not hold was 737-0004. So I was not able to text. And then again, maybe I didn't want him texting me back either. Back to
chuckle.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the courtesy laugh there. So, look, Jordan Love, was anybody playing quarterback in the entire NFL better than Jordan Love during the final 8 regular season games and that playoff game against Dallas when he was exquisite? Was anybody playing quarterback better than him down the stretch in 2023? No, right? Not even Patrick Mahomes, who went on to win the Super Bowl. He wasn't playing very well at all, frankly, down the stretch, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and then we get to this yesterday, and I did feel a little bit seen because I had people in the YouTube comments of our show texting or messaging in what Orlovsky had tweeted, and then somebody sent me the tweet, and I was like, God, he and I don't really like each other. I can't believe he's listening to our show, which I don't think he was. But you're 1,000% right, Jennifer. however you want to describe it, this is what bothers me about this. And I understand it's the silly season where, I try to get through this period of the off season by telling stories that I might not tell otherwise, like the Marshawn Lloyd story about where he's at. And of course, I write this glowing thing about how excited they are, and then I show up to the OTA last week, and he's in the rehab group, not even practicing. But like today, I wrote about Edgerrin Cooper and how he has added weight, but the coaches still think he's just as explosive as he was last year, and they're really excited about him, right? Because those are the kinds of off-season stories that I believe in. I don't want to play these semantics games. I don't want to debate whether Jordan Love regressed or didn't advance or however you want to view it. He wasn't good enough last year. And you know who would tell you that? Jordan Love would tell you that. And you can blame the injuries. You can blame the drops. You can say he didn't regress. You can say whatever you want. But the bottom line is they lost their last 3 games. And over the final 4 games of last season, as compared to the final 9 games of the previous season, he wasn't as good. So whatever prism you want to look at that through, and if you want to tell me that I don't know anything about football and you're the supreme leader of football knowledge, great, that's fine. I have never said that Jordan Love sucks, that he's never going to be a good quarterback. None of those things, those are completely unrelated here. I have consistently, you guys have heard me say this again and again, it is such a pivotal year for him. This is why I took the angle about, Rodgers in year 3, because Jordan Love's numbers in his first 2 years as the starter are not dissimilar from Aaron Rodgers' numbers in his first 2 years as the starter. Now, where he goes from here is what matters. So Dan Orlovsky can tell me and many others that we're all just idiots. He can fight over word choices. But whatever the bottom line is, for the past 2 years, does not matter. Past is prologue here. We will see what he does this season when the general manager has come out and said it's time for them to start competing for championships. Well, you know who has to play very well for you to compete for a championship? Not at a Hall of Fame level, not even at an all-pro level, but has to play very well? Your quarterback. And it's time for him, and he knows this, to take a jump in his performance. And that's all we're trying to talk about here. So I always talk to the girls about we don't push other people down to push ourselves up. So spare me your pithy little tweets and instead break down why he didn't regress in your mind. And if you don't have time to do that, then just don't go on Twitter, which is what my approach has been for the past 5 years now. So here endeth the rant.
Well said, Jason. Jason, who
Thanks,
is Zach Tom? Who is Zach Tom competing against?
Himself first and foremost, right? Like, if we're being honest, I still, and this is what I find fascinating. So Jordan Love gets a break in some people's minds because of his injuries, and Zach Tom doesn't. I feel like you mentioned this to me last week when I was on.
Yeah.
Here's a guy who plays with a torn pec, never regains the strength he would have normally had he been able to lift all offseason the way he normally would. And we're talking about him competing for his job. Now, we're going to get 6 players today. Again, I don't really understand why, just because they've moved to the soccer locker room at Lambeau Field while their locker room is being renovated, why we can't go in there and work the locker room the way we normally did. Good Lord, I had enough trouble trying to get to the tight end in the corner that I still don't understand why your locker was that way. But, there's no reason. But I appreciate them bringing players. I'm hoping Zach Tom is one of them because I would really love to know his mentality, right? Because you can't sit and pout. You can't say, oh, they hurt my feelings because they said I'm competing for my job. I'm my harshest critic. I'm sure he's going to say, I need to play better. I don't care who I'm competing with. I need to be the best version of me, all those things. But they're all true. And I still think, Jen mentioned straw man. I think he's, in my opinion, battling potentially the invisible man that they brought up this competition, but there's no clear-cut person that he's competing with. Anthony Belton, their second-round pick, he worked at left tackle with the number 2 group when they were 2-spotting 11-on-11 periods. He worked some guard. I didn't see him at right tackle, That doesn't mean he didn't do it. It's hard to watch two sessions at the same time. But the bottom line is that if Zach Tom's not their starting right tackle, I'm not going to walk to Sheboygan or eat my hat, but I don't think it's very likely. I just don't understand why they put it out there the way they did and what the upside was.
And that's interesting to me, Jason, because yesterday we were talking about the Trey Hendrickson situation in Cincinnati, where they just went, hey, play well next year and we'll take care of it. And then he goes out and leads the league. That number for pass rushers explodes with guys like Myles Garrett and TJ Watt, resetting the market. And then the Bengals going, oh, man, we had no idea that was coming. And the lesson to be learned there is pay your guys early, not late. If Zach Tom in the end is actually going to be their starter, wouldn't it make more sense to try to sign him to extension now and tamper down what that number could be instead of letting him get to free agency? And then if he's ready to walk, either if you don't want him to, you have to pay him market value, or you have to slap the franchise tag on him, which nobody wants.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like Mike Holmgren talking to Dave Benz back in 1996. Where he said, Dave, you just asked me 3 questions and answered 2 of them yourself. What would you like me to say? But I agree with everything you said. Like, I don't have a great response. Well, Jesse's the one who's going to have to deal with that since he's on jury duty today. But yes, I understand. And here's another example of how the quarterback is different, right? Because we're looking at the money that they pay Jordan Love. And no, I don't think, unless I'm missing the discourse on this, no one's saying, oh my God, they paid this guy $55 million a year. He's got to play better, right? I haven't heard many people, maybe you guys have when I'm not listening, but I haven't heard many people bring the contract number into it, because I think we're all looking at it with what Brock Purdy got, with what Trevor Lawrence got, Tua, et cetera, that this is just now the cost of doing business on having a young quarterback who you think could turn out to be really, really good and is sort of good and still has more to prove before you would really feel like, okay, this was money well spent, right? So I just feel like with the influx of money into this league, with the increased TV deals and the gambling money and everything else, that the rising tide has lifted all the high-profile boats in terms of cost. But I would also argue potentially that this is just Cincinnati being Cincinnati, right? I mean, this is their reputation. Like, yeah, we'll take care of you, and oh my gosh, that's too much now. We don't want to pay you that. That feels very Bengals-y to me, and I'm not sure that other teams would not have handled it a very different way.
Jason, before we let you go, NFL.com has put out a list of the NFL's top 10 most complete teams for the 2025 season. This is another metric. This is an algorithm that weights each of the positions differently. We're going to talk about it as a show, but I'm curious what your first thought is when I tell you that the Green Bay Packers are ranked on this list 8th most complete team for 2025. And just for perspective, they are behind the Vikings, which are ranked 6th with J.J. McCarthy, a virtual unknown at the most important position.
And where are the Lions?
Ooh, I think they're up at 2. I scrolled past them. They're at 3.
Okay. Because
who just lost their center.
Yeah, to retirement. Yeah, you're right. I look, a couple things. One, I think they're going to be a good team. I also think they got a hell of a difficult schedule, and they're going to make the playoffs and not win the division, and they're going to be around 10-7. Now, sometimes I'm right about my predictions, and then sometimes, like in 2023, when I picked them to win 6 games and they won 9 and then won a playoff, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Dan Orlovsky can say that about me too if he wants. But the bottom line is that I think they're going to be a good football team, but it's going to be one of those years, and I'm not saying it's wake me in January because I love the journey, but we're really going to find out based on what the heck they do in the postseason. Now, I know there's been some folks that have predicted they're going to miss the playoffs. I don't agree, but it'll be interesting to see because I do think if you look up and down their roster, if, and this is obviously an enormous if that I wasn't saying about the 1996 team, going into the season, largely because I wasn't covering the team yet. I was covering Badger volleyball and Wisconsin soccer and preps. But if those third and fourth year guys play at the level that we have seen flashes or shortly extended periods of them playing at, if their quarterback plays not like he did during the second half of 2023, but closer to that than what he played at last year, I think they have a very complete team. I think they've got a bunch of talent on defense, and if DeMarcus Covington can figure out a way to make Rashawn Gary and LVN and Devontae Wyatt and Kenny Clark get after the quarterback more effectively, then I think they're going to be even better than they were last year. So I think they have a really good team on their hands that is going to lose some games against some really good teams, but they're going to make the playoffs, and then it'll be a crapshoot on where they go from there. Now, I would also add that there have been teams during my career that I looked at and said, these guys are really damn good. And then they just got devastated by injuries. I think back to 2002 when Tausch tore his ACL, Clifton got that cheap shot from Warren Sapp. They lost Robert Ferguson and Darren Sharper late in the year. They were going to New York to play the Jets with win, and they're the number one seed. And they got blown out at the Meadowlands because they were barely, they limped into and out of the Meadowlands. And then they lost at home to Michael Vick, if you remember. First time the Packers had lost a home playoff game at Lambeau Field. That team, after what they had done in 2001, had a chance to be really, really good, and they just got devastated by injuries. If that doesn't happen to this team, I feel really, really good about what I'm saying about them.
Jason, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Have a great one. We'll talk to you again soon.
Joshy, I'm working on the picture and the group name for my text. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you all.
You got it.
Take care. Be good.
Did you call him Dan?
Dude.
Oh, I thought you called him Dan. I was like, of all the nicknames to throw his way. No, I'm just kidding. All right, Jason Wilde can be heard on Wilde and Tausch right after this very program on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. We will break down that list, the NFL.com top 10 most complete teams for 2025. Packers are ranked 8th. What do you think? We'll talk about that right after this.
You don't need a private party or fancy credentials to play golf inside of American Family Field because X-Golf is open to the public every Brewers home game. That's right. Whether you're a walk-up or you plan ahead, you can tee it off in a high-tech golf simulator with a perfect view of the field. That's really cool. I mean, if you haven't been up there, the way they've got that tiered, so you've got great views, and they have a special menu up there, fantastic bar that you can walk up to. Each seat is table service. The vibes are immaculate. Food, drinks, big swings, all without missing a pitch. So book your next game day around X-Golf inside of American Family Field, open to the public 7 days a week.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
2 crashes right now, including a new one on 894 West at Forest Home. This is blocking the left lane and causing traffic to back up past Loomis. Right now, it's going to be an extra 8 to 9 minutes on your ride from the Mitchell through to the Hale. So be mindful again. Left lane blocked on 894 West at Forest Home. Also have a crash on 43 North still at Hampton on the right shoulder. Out of the way of traffic, but traffic heading past this is stopping to take a look at it. And so we've got delays now on 43 heading south all the way north of Good Hope Road down to about Hampton, and then delays north on 43 out of downtown up to Capitol, and it's a slow go on 4145 as to be expected anywhere between Appleton Avenue and Watertown Plank Road. And checking the storm team forecast for today, breezy, warm, and humid, evening rain and storms likely with a high of 83. Those storms will transition to all rain overnight with a low of 56. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Adam Roberts on 94.5 ESPN.
St. Anne's Center for Intergenerational Care recently switched to James Imaging Systems for their document imaging technology. Why? CFO Sally Parente.
Well, I think that boils back down to the service. We have a good partnership with James Imaging.
With James, you get more than a vendor relationship. You get a local business technology partner.
Oh, absolutely. I can pick up the phone at any time, contact our representative, and he's right on it.
James Imaging Systems, business technology and local support for more productivity, more value.
Definitely. We're a nonprofit here. We have to watch every penny, so we really feel very comfortable in that area with James Imaging.
Comfortable enough to recommend James Imaging Systems to others?
Well, without hesitation, I would recommend James Imaging. They won't be disappointed.
James Imaging Systems. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
Turn your driveway into the basketball court of your dreams with Precision Sports, Southeastern Wisconsin's dealer for Mega Slam, Ironclad, and Dominator hoop systems. From installation to customizable painted court lines, Precision Sports is a slam dunk. PrecisionSportsOnline.com.
Looking for localized banking solutions and a strategic partner? Fifth Third Bank has been shaping the future for businesses for 167 years and for the last 15 right here in Milwaukee. We offer industry-specific expertise, local decision-making, and extensive experience to help you navigate the ever-changing business landscape with your business in mind. At Fifth Third, we're big enough to provide sophisticated solutions and expert guidance, yet empowered to make local decisions and build strong community connections. Experience the commercial banking value only Fifth Third can deliver. Fifth Third Bank National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Hey, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Buying a roof, siding, or windows can feel overwhelming. Hidden costs, confusing contracts. We don't play that game. We educate you so you can decide. And when you know the facts, Infinity Exteriors is the clear choice. Since 1997, we've installed peace of mind with no surprise upcharges, flexible budgets, and immediate financing. Infinity Exteriors, saving our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Visit infinityexteriors.com.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
It's Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Gabe, it'll change your life. Any barbecue you ate for the rest of your life will be measured against Buc-ee's.
On 94.5 ESPN.
Looking for a home can be a lot of things. Stressful, time-consuming, expensive, but looking for a home should be an exciting chapter in your life, and the We Sell group at Keller Williams knows this and wants to make sure it happens for you. Their passion is people, and they are knowledgeable, approachable, and have unprecedented availability. Maybe you're looking for a home, or maybe you're navigating the selling process. That can always be tricky as well. Rob and Nick will help every step of the way. The We Sell Group's selling process makes sure that the best and most competitive offers always are made on your home. So get started on a stress-free journey today. The WeSell.kw.com group. That's WeSell.kw.com. Want to get into this list that we just talked about on NFL.com. So just to be clear, look, there's no exact metric. And to be honest with you, the author of this article, Eric Edholm, basically says that. There's no perfect way to rank the best rosters headed into the season. But you can grade each of the position groups, and then you can weigh those position groups based on the impact that they have on the team's success. And you can kind of, sort of put an algorithm together that gives you some information. And that's what this gentleman, Eric, has done. Number one, not a shock chew, is the Philadelphia Eagles. We all saw that complete roster last season, and then, of course, the additions that they made in the offseason. It feels like they deserve the top spot. After that, it's the Baltimore Ravens. Then we talked about the Lions, which, again, feel like a complete team, albeit losing Frank Ragnow yesterday, who announced his retirement, their center. Kansas City Chiefs are 4, Buffalo Bills are 5, The Vikings, this is where it kills me, man. Absolutely kills me. Vikings are 6. It kills me because J.J. McCarthy is a virtual unknown in the league at the most important position. And according to this guy, he ranks them. He ranks each position, saying they're weighted, if you will. Then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then your Green Bay Packers. Chew, is there a way that this completeness equals success, or is it an unreliable metric to you?
Well, I just pulled up teams with the most Pro Bowl players in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers had 1, or they have 3. They had 3.
I was about to say they had.
He doesn't.
Wait, who are you not
but
counting?
All the other top. Rashawn Gary, come on, you're going to count him.
So they had 2.
So they had 2, but that's way down on the list compared to the names you've just read off. I don't. I mean, do they have solid B players? See how?
Yeah, it's all solid.
The
B
formula
players.
to winning the formula to winning a championship is your A players have to play like A players, your B's got to play like B's, and your C's have to play like B's. That's how you win, right? So what do they have?
They've got a lot of B's.
I mean, the Pro Bowl's still a metric. They have 3. They have a lot of B's.
Yeah, they got a lot of B players. Like again, I would argue that the 2 Pro Bowlers that they again, I guess the 2 Pro Bowlers we're counting in this exercise are their 2 A players, Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney.
Yeah,
those are their A players.
Because
you can convince me into Jair being an A player. Again, the caveat being when healthy and if he's going to be on the roster. So you got a couple of things you got to work through there. But after that, like I don't think you can call anybody else on this team an A player. Can you? I mean, maybe if you want to talk me into Zach Tom or Elton Jenkins.
Yeah. But let me ask you this, because I was thinking about it when Jason was answering his last question there. It's like, are they not good at development? They claim to be a draft and develop team, but they don't seem to be very good at development. They haven't developed the receivers. Now, they developed Kraft, which is good. Who else have they developed?
I mean, they didn't draft him, but
it seems to be like always. It's like with Edgerrin Cooper, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we expect him to take a step, just like we expected Quay Walker to take a step. They haven't developed Quay Walker. He had a little better year, but he's certainly not an impact. He's at time an impact player, and at time he just disappears. Same with Devontae Wyatt.
I would argue that they develop offensive line. Because the offensive line hasn't been an issue. It hasn't.
And almost always those are later round picks.
Yeah. Rasheed Walker's a 7th-round pick.
That sort of outperform their draft spot.
So I would say they develop offensive line, Chew, which is maybe why they're comfortable with, I guess, putting Zach Tom in this competition they've decided to put him in. They didn't draft Keyshawn Nixon, but they have developed him as a corner. Because when he came in, it was like, maybe you'll play, but you're definitely going to return kicks. And he played the slot. Okay, you did that pretty well. They put him outside. Ooh, you're pretty good at the outside. Maybe we can keep you out there too. So I would argue that even though he wasn't a draft guy, they have developed the skills of Keyshawn Nixon. So there are a handful of guys I would say that they have developed. But again,
but there's also a part of guys they haven't developed.
Well, and those
are supposed to be your studs.
That's the problem. Like the first-round picks haven't developed. Like those guys that need to be those studs, you're missing those A players. We keep coming back to that conversation. You don't have enough studs, so you're kind of counting on some of these guys who are 3rd or 4th round picks who don't have some of the athleticism that you're hoping for, are able to take advantage and develop other skills in other spots.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up because the studs thing is what is jamming me on this most complete list. You bring up they have a lot of B players. The Washington Commanders have an A player at the quarterback position in Jaden Daniels. The Washington Commanders are not on this list. Now, I recognize they only went to 10, and there are 14 teams that make the playoffs. But if you can have a playoff team like the Washington Commanders not as a most complete team, and yet they, would theoretically give the Green Bay Packers a more quote-unquote complete team fits, there's a part of me that says, well, this is an unreliable metric. Because if you are that good at that position, doesn't matter how complete your roster is, it can overshadow, it can erase a lot. Like Aaron Rodgers, for example, right? He didn't always have the best roster. He didn't have the most complete roster, but he was a Hall of Fame player at the most important position, and that elevated the team as a whole. between the Vikings and the Commanders, that's where my issues are here. The Vikings have a big old question mark, giant question mark, at the most important position, Gabe. How in the world is their roster considered more complete when this author says he is weighing the positions by value and significance?
Because, I mean, I'm guessing there's a Kevin O'Connell portion of that, right? Like, well, if Kevin O'Connell can make Sam Darnold play the way Sam Darnold did, okay, J.J. McCarthy, who's a top 10 pick, should be able to find some relative success because that is a pretty complete roster. The biggest question they have is at quarterback. And when it comes to Washington, when I think of the complete roster, Packers at 8 makes sense because they do have a pretty good roster that was able to survive Jordan Love missing some, in Matt LaFleur's terms, significant time last year because they do have a complete roster and they were able to help elevate their backup quarterback. If Jaden Daniels goes down, Washington is bleeped. Cooked.
Yeah.
But
they weight this thing, too. They weight this thing when it comes to Minnesota, too, because Minnesota, when it comes to skills positions, are a top 5 team. They're a top 5 team.
That might be one. I mean,
they may even be.
Their skills are so loaded.
You know?
It's outrageous.
And their offensive line is solid. So if J.J. McCarthy can't succeed with this offense, then he should be out of the league.
And he's going to have his ups and downs, so I doubt that they end up winning the same number of games that they do. But because their skills are that good, and Kevin O'Connell has the respect that he does, like that's still going to be a solid team.
Oh, yeah.
But it all comes down to how good is JJ.
That's a great question, though, that you bring up is the coaches. I didn't see any mention of coaches, coaching, pedigree, all of those things in the quote-unquote algorithm that this author used to create the most complete NFL teams. I'm going to dig on that a little bit and see if he used the coaches as sort of, to tip the scales one way or another. Because I guess the conversation then is Kevin O'Connell a better coach than Matt LaFleur? Is Kevin O'Connell enough to tip a rookie quarterback with 30 preseason snaps over, again, Green Bay? They're 6th, Green Bay is 8th.
I mean, I'd love to see.
Call push.
I'd love to see Matt LaFleur with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Love.
Yeah,
I think Justin Jefferson makes a lot of coaches really good.
We got to take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. If you want to check out the list, it is on NFL.com. Top 10 most complete teams for 2025. I would just caution, again, this is my opinion. I don't think it's a reliable metric because while you can be a complete team, you can have one guy at a very important position who elevates the whole dang thing and gives a team like the Packers fits in the playoffs. We'll take a break. Roll on. Ready for this?
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today. More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
Got an unused car, truck, or SUV just sitting in your garage? Now's the time to act. Your vehicle donation to Rawhide Youth Services provides essential mental health care for youths facing trauma and behavioral challenges. Your help is needed right away. Your vehicle could be the key to a young person's fresh start. Don't wait. Donate today at rawhide.org or call 1-800-RAWHIDE. Empty your garage. Fill a young life with hope.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion of artistry and flavor with sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate the Arts Hotel introduces an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate and learn more at stkatearts.com.
Summerfest welcomes Def Leppard. June 19th, American Family Insurance Amphitheater during Summerfest. Get set to get rocked. Def Leppard with special guest Tesla. Tickets on sale now at summerfest.com and Ticketmaster outlets. Def Leppard, brought to you by Summerfest.
Get tickets now.
Look, I got a dog. Oh.
To the movie event of the summer.
You sure that's a dog? Yeah.
Rough. This Memorial Day, the summer starts with Stitch.
Adorable little psychopath.
Disney's Lilo and Stitch, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing only in theaters.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. Classes start June 11th. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Summer's here, and seasonal businesses are hiring everything from hiking guides to surf instructors and more. Whether you're hiring for one of these roles or any other role, you need ZipRecruiter to find qualified candidates fast. ZipRecruiter's smart technology gets to work as soon as you post a job, diving in to find great matches and showing you top picks right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/USL to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/USL.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
I'm telling you, don't doubt his story because he heebie-jeebies at certain times to miss field goals.
Yeah.
Gabe, I showed you how he does the heebie-jeebies,
Heebie-jeebie,
right?
heebie-jeebie, heebie-jeebie.
You take your
heebie-jeebie.
fingers and you rub them back and forth on your thigh and you go heebie-jeebie, heebie-jeebie. Swear the guy bats 100%. So to call him a liar and he puts a curse on you?
Look, I'm not calling him a liar.
Yeah, you are.
On 94.5 ESPN.
If you want to play the best golf of your life, you've got to check out the Wisconsin Country Club. So I've been a member. I joined a couple of years ago, and I love all the different things. No assessments, no food beverage minimums. An awesome golf course that I love to play. It's got great other amenities. If you're into tennis, pickleball, pool, that as well. But at Wisconsin Country Club, they just launched the WCC Performance Academy. It's powered by Catalyst Golf Performance and Artis Physical Therapy. It's the real deal. So they use TrackMan, 3D Motion, Miha EMS, everything you need to move better, feel stronger, and shoot lower scores. Join the Wisconsin Country Club, check out the WCC Performance Academy, and get started today at wisconsincountryclub.com. Just a fairway away.
We're watching Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV right now, and there's a line in the show where he says, "It's not yours if you can't keep it." The main character says that after his boss says it to him. It's a whole thing. You should watch Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV. It's not yours if you can't keep it seems to apply to this next story that we're going to talk about here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. So apparently, there was a guy in Canada who won $3.6 million in the lottery. I believe this is the Canadian lottery, for clarification's sake. But he didn't have an active bank account or a valid government-issued ID. So he gave the money to his girlfriend to deposit into her bank account. Well, you know what she did?
Deuces.
She is not returning his calls. She has blocked him on social media. She has filed for a protective order against him. And now he is suing her for the money. This is wild.
Suing her sounds like theft. I would have called the cops. Right?
Well, she
Who
was
bought
the
the
one.
ticket?
Well, he bought the ticket, but again, because he didn't have a valid ID to make the claim, they had her make the claim. So, again, she was the one who filed with the proper authorities up there to claim the $3.6 million.
They were in a relationship, he calls it committed and promising. And she obviously did not feel the same way because she has since moved on with another gentleman, according to this report. I got to be honest with you. To me, this is one of those things that comes down to what's right and what's legal. It feels to me like, Gabe, she's got the law behind her because he didn't have the requisite documentation to accept the lottery winnings. She did. The mistake he made, it sounds like, was trusting her.
Yeah, you needed to get some sort of legal agreement in writing before she made the claim.
He bought the ticket. He bought the ticket.
Sure, but you could make the argument that not having the government ID and the bank account were all requisite for collecting the winnings. It's all well and good to buy the ticket, but if you win and you cannot put it into your own bank account and you can't collect it, what's the point?
What kind of relationship is this if he doesn't have a valid government ID or a bank account? Like what did he use?
Jen, you said you're watching.
To buy the ticket. Like he's just walking around with all the cash in the world that he has.
Jen, you said you're watching a show on Apple.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of the show?
Your Friends and Neighbors. John Hamm.
Oh, see, because I'm watching a thing called Mobland, and I would go that route. I would make some calls there as opposed to Friends and Neighbors. If she walked with $3.6 million, yeah.
She did not return to the hotel room that the two were sharing. He then went out to a few of her known spots where she would party. Sure enough, after some investigation, he found her in bed with another guy.
Hello.
I mean, I got to be honest. I feel like she sent the message pretty clearly. You could argue that, she's not answering your calls, but I think she's sending a message. Yeah. A hearing for the case is scheduled for June 13th. Sounds like you're on the dude's side, huh?
No, it'll be a half and half, I'm sure, right?
I have no idea.
Can they prove that he purchased it? Is there some
I'm assuming.
Oh, I'm sure there's cameras.
There's got to be a video.
Well, he couldn't have used right? Because he doesn't have a bank account, so he doesn't have a card.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a prepaid card. Maybe that's what he's dealing with. But
I know you
can't even use cards for lottery, can you?
Not all places. I do not know about Canada. Some allow debit because it is technically taking the money. They don't let you put it on credit though, which is probably a good idea. What's interesting here is like a lot of times in America, I know as far as that goes, they'll like know exactly who won it before that person ever claims it because they can, I mean, it's all run through a computer system. They can see exactly what time the ticket was sold and then they just match up the footage, which most, if not all gas stations at this point have some sort of security footage. So like you can prove you bought it, but then it gets particularly complicated because are you even eligible to purchase it if you don't have all the things you need to claim it? Like if you don't have the ID and all that stuff, that doesn't necessarily make sense. But also, like, couldn't he have just done this before? I know you get excited. $3.6 million. I want to collect that. I understand
Especially if you don't have a bank account. If you don't have a bank account, you can't have a lot of money. Right.
So just talk to a financial advisor and a lawyer and then go claim it. Would that not be the path?
I mean, it doesn't. I guess I don't know about Canada's DMV, but it doesn't take you go to the DMV, you register, 2 weeks later you get the ID, and then you walk over to a bank and go, hey, I want to start an account.
You don't even need to wait. They give you a paper one that's valid.
Yeah, you're absolutely
right. How does it work here?
You find out you win, you figure out what you need, you go get what you need, and then you go collect your winnings.
It's not like you have 12 hours to claim this thing. They give you a couple of months.
Yeah, it's a long time. You definitely have enough time to get it done if you have the things to prove you can get an ID.
So there's another phrase too that comes to mind: mistakes were made. Right?
Yeah.
Mistakes.
Do you think she just put this in her checking account? Is that what happened here? Just $3.6 million right into your checking account? Because that's what it sounds like.
Again, at the end of the day,
yeah, but it's loonies and toonies. How much is it really?
At the end of the day, just split it. Right? What are we talking? Almost $2 million each. Like, just.
Yeah, you know what's better than almost $2 million? 3.6.
A dumb question?
Please.
Are they dollar bills or what are they? What's Canada's monetary system?
Yeah, like
pound?
a Canadian dollar. Yeah.
Okay, is it 1 for 1? Do you know?
It is not.
Look that up.
Exchange rate? No.
The exchange rate is not 1 for 1.
Let me get on that during the break. We'll be right back after this.
Why doesn't everyone just have the dollar? This is ridiculous.
More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
We got some good news on 894 West. That crash earlier at Forest Home, that has been cleared up. The delays still remain, though. They stretch all the way back through the Plainfield Curve at Mitchell, heading down towards the airport. So be mindful of that. The delays are still there from this crash, even though the crash itself is taken care of. Also a slow go on 43, either direction from downtown all the way up to about Hampton, after we still have these two cars on the right shoulder, two pickup trucks involved in an earlier crash. Also slow on 94 east and west from downtown to about 84th Street, and on 4145 south from Appleton Avenue, just north of there actually, down to Capitol Drive, and then up from Watertown Plank Road to Capitol heading north. Traffic is sponsored by the Bud Pavilion's free concert series, Wednesday night live at State Fair Park. Stop by Wednesday for the Cheap Shots. Gates open at 6, live music at 7. Summer fun this Wednesday at the Bud Pavilion. And checking the Storm Team forecast for today, breezy, warm, and humid. Rounds of rain, especially later this evening, with some thunderstorms mixed in as well, and a high of 83. Those storms will transition to all rain overnight with a low of 56. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Adam Roberts on 94.5 ESPN.
This is an ad by BetterHelp.
BetterHelp recently surveyed more than 16,000 people and found that while 75% of people believe it is wise to seek support, only 27% of Americans are actually in therapy, and people stay silent to avoid being judged. BetterHelp has more than 10 years of experience matching you with the right therapist. We are all better with help. Visit BetterHelp.com/timeout for 10% off your first month of therapy today. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/timeout.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's, flavor is our family's business.
You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI-HD Milwaukee, a Good Karma Brands radio station. Showtime. The right way to start your day. This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You're going to have a lot of bait fish. They're about 4 inches, and they're just going to go in a circle around the light. There's probably 200 of them, 200 to 300 of them. Like, oh, wow, look at that. That's cool.
George, watch out for those pigeons.
Oh, they'll get out of the way. You really smell banana.
Oh, my God.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere, this 5-foot shark comes with its mouth open and goes right through the middle of them, takes a bite, and I almost soiled myself. I'm like, there is no way I'm getting in the water.
Ran over some pigeons. How many?
Whatever they had. Miranda thinks I'm a butcher, but it's not my fault, is it? Don't we have a deal with the pigeons?
So I can't go out of the front of the house at night, and I can't go in the water ever.
Of course we have a deal. They get out of the way of our cars. We look the other way on the statue defecation.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue with Gabe Neitzel and Mark Chamorro. Here's Jen Latta.
Running her mouth, she wants to ride it, she's trying to hide it. I'm cool as ever, she's too excited. Her man look like he wanna fight.
We got power rankings coming up in just a few minutes. Right.
Yes. It's a good one. Another good one.
Oh, it's always good.
Yeah,
When was the last time it was bad?
I really like how
never.
close he is to the camera right now. He's all up in my face. There you go. Power rankings coming up in a few minutes, and then we've got Jeff Levering coming up at the bottom of the hour to talk about the Brewers, who won again last night. Christian Yelich did end up playing, despite the hand injury that we thought might keep him out for at least yesterday. At least I thought that. But I want to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks right now, because there's a couple of stories that have popped. I like this. I talked to Ashton, our former producer, yesterday, and he said, we're going to start calling this Jansense. All right, let's check in with our Jansense today. So some of the news surrounding Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks today is this report that the Bucks are doing what I can only assume is due diligence, that the Bucks are talking to prospects who would be lottery picks. Bucks they're not right now in a position where they would need to do homework on lottery picks.
Don't even have a first-round pick, Jen.
Yep, that's That's correct. But the father of a potential lottery pick says the Milwaukee Bucks have contacted his son and have been doing background research on him despite not owning a single 2025 first-round pick. That information according to NBA Big Board, if you're curious where that came from. Chu, how do you interpret this information? Do you think that the Bucks are preparing themselves to have a first-round pick, theoretically, because they traded Giannis Antetokounmpo away?
I'm sure it's just due diligence, but I would be very leery of trading him for a lottery pick.
Well, that would just be a part of a. That would be a part of a.
No, I know it'd be a
much
part of it, Gabe,
package.
but the chances of getting the number one pick, which he's worth, probably two of them, is a crapshoot, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you're going to get players and picks, and if that package includes a pick this year. You don't want to get caught with your pants down, right? Like, you got to make sure you're doing all the due diligence in case you end up with one of those picks. Like, I've been 60-40 that Giannis stays. That 40% is still pretty significant. And I don't know how the Bucks feel. Have no idea. But obviously, they don't know what Giannis is going to say to them. If he's going to come and say, hey, I'm sticking around, but on the off chance, like, what percentage would it have to be for you not to do your due diligence? I mean, it would probably have to be 100%. You would have to be very confident he's coming back, right? Like, even 1%, you don't want to get caught off guard of, oh, crap, we didn't do our homework because we thought Giannis was coming back, because these are the picks that you're, again, like you said, it's a crapshoot, but hoping to potentially one day rebuild your franchise around if indeed Giannis does decide to go.
Yeah, if you're a Bucks fan, I would interpret this as a positive, and here's why. Because you want to believe that your franchise is competent, and only a competent franchise recognizes that they are not the only ones involved here, that they cannot dictate the outcome here exclusively. Therefore, to your point about getting, you can't stick your head in the sand and go, or Dumb and Dumber this thing, putting your fingers in your ears, la, 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 la. Giannis will never leave. He would never leave us. He loves us too much. He's too loyal to us. You can't do that, because if he chooses to go the other direction, you're screwed.
Well, even additionally, like, even if Giannis decides to stick around next year, what if he asks out the year after or the year after? Like, you still want to do your due diligence on these high-end draft picks. Like, just take a look at the finals. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played a year for the Clippers before he got traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, if that ends up happening and you have a guy who plays 1 year somewhere, like, you want to have some idea about him, some sort of background, because once he signs an NBA contract, you can't talk to any of these players at all legally, because I'm sure tampering never happens.
Do we know who the player was? That they were talking to?
I can't remember offhand. What was the name of the player?
Oh, did they figure it out?
I don't know. Do you know? I assume I can't remember.
I hadn't seen a name attached to it.
Okay.
I thought it was sort of done anonymously. The father of a player, or the father of a lottery pick. I'm sure there are people there who are trying to figure out, who it is. It's not an infinite number of possibilities. But at the end of the day, again, if you want to believe that this is a competent franchise, this is exactly the direction that you want them to go. So that, hey, look, you got two doors in front of you. You would like for door number one to open up and not have to use any of this information. But God forbid door number two is the one that you're standing there with at the end of the game show. You want to be able to walk through it confidently, knowing that you have done your homework on a player who may be a part of your franchise in the near future.
Well, and again, it goes back to there have been some guys the Packers have picked up over the years, whether they were undrafted free agents that were on other practice squads or things like that were a part of their pre-draft prep. And even though they did not become a member of the team immediately after the draft, they eventually became a member of the Packers. Like, oh, they brought this guy in a couple of years ago on a pre-draft visit. Oh, they were doing their homework on this guy, and eventually that player comes back around. So just because you don't have a first-round pick doesn't mean you want to be sitting on your hands during this entire process, even if Giannis is a part of the team.
I want to throw this out there, Chu. I'm sorry. I want to throw this out there to you and get your reaction. Is it possible that the Bucks are looking to trade away Dame Lillard?
And what are you going to get for him?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if they think, could they be getting a top pick back for Dame Lillard?
No.
36, what they got to pay him, missing a year. I don't see that. But do you think the Bucks know they're not going to get what Giannis is worth? Do they know that?
Yeah, they know that. Like, no top player's ever getting traded for.
Yeah.
Because, and this is an old Bill Simmons thing when he used to write more about the NBA. Like, yeah, you can get 4 quarters in return. Like, if Giannis is worth $1, yeah, you can get 4 quarters in return. But those 4 quarters, they don't have the same power as the dollar. Like, it's still 4 quarters, like you can make that make sense in your head, but like it's just not the same. Yeah, okay, I guess that's kind of equal value, but like that dollar has more purchase power than any of those 1 quarters do.
So do we look into the report that came out that said Bobby Portis is probably going to opt in? Does that tell us anything or no?
Tells me that you've been paying attention because that's exactly where I was going next.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, no, that's great. No, not apology, because that's the next thing I was going to ask you guys was, of course, there was a report yesterday.
I mean, that's a positive, right? That's a positive.
Yeah, I would say that's a positive. Because I would say Bobby would be certainly a part of any sort of team around Giannis.
Sure, and it also sounds like it will be, for whatever it can be, team-friendly. It also sounds like there will be some flexibility for the Milwaukee Bucks, depending on how they structure this deal.
Yeah, because if he were to opt out and the Bucks wanted to keep him, again, it just becomes complicated quickly with the way the CBA is. Okay, how do we split up the amount of money we have through the different exemptions that we have and try to pay another guy that we want to bring back? Because they want to bring back Kevin Porter Jr., they want to bring back Gary Trent Jr. They're going to want to bring those players back to put them around Giannis. And having another player who's now potentially somebody who could leave, that just complicates matters. Him opting in makes it easier for the Bucks offseason and some of the other things they're going to want to do to try to set this team up, not for success next year, but the year after.
Get young.
Yeah, and that's why they want to bring back Gary Trent and Kevin Porter Jr. Those guys are the ones in their mid-20s that they would be younger and want to be a core part of the team.
And then there was the video from Kyle Kuzma where he was, I don't know, boxing. Was he working out, but he was boxing? And he posted, "Me to Giannis if you leave next year." So now we've got threats of violence against Giannis. So again, to me, the vibe around the team.
My money's on Giannis, by the way.
The vibe around the team, even with all of this uncertainty, is very good. Morale seems very high with these guys. Giannis is laughing at these things. Giannis is posting pictures. He's answering questions on social. Like, it doesn't feel like doomsday. And look. No. Is it possible that the rug will get pulled out from underneath us and we'll be left there going, what the hell happened? Maybe. But right now it feels like the way things are rolling, everything's good. I don't know. Just a vibe check. That's how it feels.
The only thing that scares me is Luka. How that happened without anyone knowing, and it was the Lakers. That's the only thing that scares me. Like a Golden State saying, all right, here you go.
The Bucks aren't The Bucks are not going to trade Giannis without Giannis saying, "I want to be traded." That is the only thing, Chewy, of everything that's going on. The only thing I am most confident in is that the Bucks are not going to trade Giannis without Giannis asking out.
So if he says, "I'm traded," it's over.
If he asks for a trade, I wouldn't say it's 100% over, because I think
then what would you go to?
I think there's a possibility of him going, "Hey, let's explore trades." They explore trades, and Giannis looks at those teams after, okay, what would that team look like after a trade? And they take a look at it, and he goes, all right, that's not as attractive as I once thought it was, right? Like, so I think that possibility exists. Again, maybe that's just me holding on to hope, but I don't think it's 100% over. If it becomes public and he says, "I want out," then it's over. If that demand becomes public.
So if they don't, you said you were 60-40 right now. If he went in, kept it under the table and said, "Yeah, I want to explore," then what do you give it, Gabe?
If they start exploring, then it's 25-75 the other way, like 75% chance he's gone. Because again, I think there's a decent chance, again, not a high chance, but a decent enough chance where he looks at, okay, here's what Houston would look like if I were to go there. Oh, you got to give up that young guy and that young guy? Oh, man, well, that's kind of now a similar situation I'd be in Milwaukee. Plus, they wouldn't have a lot of picks left. Okay. No, let's try to take a look at this one, right? So I think that possibility still exists. But if he goes in and says, "Hey, I want out," that's not good for the Bucks.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion and artistry and flavor with Sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate, the Arts Hotel, introduces the addition of an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate. Learn more at stkatearts.com. That's stkatearts.com. Power Rankings coming up next.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy are back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
We got some good news on 894 West. That crash earlier at Forest Home, that has been cleared up. The delays still remain, though. They stretch all the way back through the Plainfield Curve at Mitchell, heading down towards the airport. So be mindful of that. The delays are still there from this crash, even though the crash itself is taken care of. Also a slow go on 43, either direction from downtown all the way up to about Hampton, after we still have these two cars on the right shoulder, two pickup trucks involved in an earlier crash. Also slow on 94 east and west from downtown to about 84th Street, and on 4145 south from Appleton Avenue, just north of there actually, down to Capitol Drive, and then up from Watertown Plank Road to Capitol heading north. Traffic is sponsored by the Bud Pavilion's free concert series, Wednesday night live at State Fair Park. Stop by Wednesday for the Cheap Shots. Gates open at 6, live music at 7. Summer fun this Wednesday at the Bud Pavilion. And checking the Storm Team forecast for today, breezy, warm, and humid. Rounds of rain, especially later this evening, with some thunderstorms mixed in as well, on a high of 83. Those storms will transition to all rain overnight with a low of 56. From the WTMJ Traffic
KBN's Brad Nortman. Let carbless, ready-to-drink cocktails be your passport to pool parties, patio hangouts, cookouts, and pure summer bliss. Carbless is here to spark a summer of flavor and fun. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, just 100 calories, and of course, all the good vibes. From fruity flavors to refreshing fizz, Carbless stands out in a sea of same-old seltzers. See what flavors fit your summer. Find your bliss today at drinkcarbless.com and enter to win a flawless summer prize pack today.
At Potawatomi, where ways to win are endless, another chance to capture epic cash and prizes comes Friday, June 27th. It's the season finale blockbuster drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty come together for drawings where $300,000 in cash and prizes is there for the taking. Be there to win your share. June 27th only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. More info online. Must be 21 years old to play.
Buying and selling a home can be a stressful process. Hey, it's Jen Latta from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. The We Sell group at Keller Williams has a goal of making it stress-free for everyone. Their passion is people, their availability is unmatched, something I'm experiencing firsthand while I search for a lake home to enjoy Wisconsin summers even more. Rob and Nick are there every step of the way, not just for their sellers, but also to potential buyers and their agents to bring in as many strong offers as possible. Get started today at wesell.kw.com. That's wesell.kw.com.
Becoming a truck driver doesn't have to be complicated. At Schneider, we make it easy to get your commercial driver's license and start your new career. With our CDL apprenticeship training, you'll get paid to become a truck driver in just 5 to 6 weeks and have a Schneider driving job waiting for you when you've completed the program. Plus, during training, Schneider will provide transportation, lodging, and meals at no cost to you. Ready to get your career on the road? Learn more and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
What's the one thing you say almost weekly here on the show?
Less eat.
Try again.
I don't know.
What's the one thing you've got?
Big boobs.
You've got time.
Oh, time.
You've got time.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
We got there.
I needed a few more hints.
Yeah. You put you in a... That's Dave's fault.
On 94.5 ESPN.
All right, I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. We're ready for it.
You're not. You don't need to lie.
It's Chewy's favorite segment of the week.
Hey, big guy, you catch the game?
It's Power Rankings time on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You catch the game last night?
Can I say yes to you? What will the big guy have in store for us today?
See the game last night?
Which game?
Any of them.
All right, time to do what I do best, and that is dominate. We've gone through top 10 power rankings for post-draft teams. Now we're going to do post-draft defenses.
Okay.
The top 10 defenses predicted for 2025.
I liked it better when he was doing, like, best holidays or best 4th of July foods. What happened to those?
It's coming back.
Okay.
It's coming back. All right, you guys ready? Give me 10.
Oh, God, I'm not good at this 10 thing. So the challenge is I want to go from one down and then try to backfill.
Yeah. That's not the way we don't have that kind of time.
We don't have that kind of time.
You know, I'll say this is where the Packers live. I'll say the Packers are number 10.
Well, you know who I'm not going to pick is the Bengals. How about the 49ers?
This is where the Dallas Cowboys live at number 10. They scare me after seeing this, because I thought they were going to be another. I didn't think their defense, but the fact that they got them 10 and they added Pickens, Dallas could be a problem.
This is a total crapshoot for me, man. I really have no idea.
9.
Steelers 9.
Yeah, I like the Steelers at 9.
Well, you both would be wrong because the Kansas City Chiefs are number 9.
Ooh.
Again, I'd
have gone a little higher.
I have no concept of how to do this until I get to the top 5. How about Indianapolis Colts at number, what are we on, 8?
I'll say the Vikings at 8.
I'm going to say the Packers are 8. Just for giggles. I'm going to say the Pack is 8.
Hating this so far. Don't anticipate it getting much better until we get to the top 5. You just said the Packers were number 8, Shu?
Yep.
Okay. How about...
I'll go Vikings again here at 7.
How about Seattle, number 7?
Gabe is correct. The Queens
are you on the board?
Number
is that your first
7.
one?
Yep,
I
am
on the board.
I am not on the board. I haven't gotten a single one correct
yet.
yet.
The Jets and you picked the Bengals,
you're
probably not going to be on the
Jets,
board.
and I did not pick the Bengals. I said, you know who I'm not going to pick is the Bengals.
6.
All right, so this is where it starts to get a little clearer for me. I feel like I know the top 5 defenses in the league. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills here.
I will go with... let's go with the Rams.
Detroit Lions are 6. So you went 8-7-6 in the division. Pretty good defense.
I guess
pretty solid.
I just assumed the Lions are going to be higher because they still played pretty good defense despite, not having any of their preferred players out there.
All right, 5.
Oh, man, this is not fun for me. How about Houston, number 5?
A-O.
What about Baltimore? They decided to put them at 5.
Okay.
Did you think they'd be higher?
I thought the Ravens would be higher.
I did as well.
I thought the Ravens would be higher.
In my mind list, I had the Ravens top 3.
This could be potentially the worst job you guys have ever done.
It's distinctly possible.
For the
what
record.
number are we on?
I think we're already there.
Number 4.
Numero 4.
Buffalo?
Yeah, Buffalo's got to be up there.
Well, these people here think Houston. They think Houston is 4.
All right.
I haven't gotten a single one
I would
right
tend to agree. Number 3.
You know what's going to be great?
Rhymes with my favorite guy at the station. Number 3 and...
Rhymes with your favorite guy at the station? Oh, 3 rhymes with D. Buffalo's at 3.
A-O Buffalo.
Okay.
Little assist there.
So...
Gabe, that was a good no look right there. Solid.
Well, but okay, now I'm stuck on who your favorite person at the station is.
Brian D.
Well, it just rhymed. So.
His favorite person
Richie
at the
Pounce.
station is Richie Pounce.
Oh, so were you trying
Richie
to figure
is
out
right.
Dog Pound, Cleveland
that's
Browns?
exactly what I was doing.
Are one of you guys going to introduce me to him someday?
Yeah, if you're ever around here.
Josh? I'm coming back Saturday.
You're scared.
Well, Richie's not going to be here on Saturday.
Well, neither will I. 2.
I have Denver 2.
Sure, Denver 2.
Philadelphia Freedom is 2. 1.
Seriously? Denver is 1?
Denver is 1, and you guys stink.
Well,
that's fair.
Gabe got 2, Jen got 1.
I just got Denver.
Well, that's 1.
And I got one of the other ones.
Well, I mean, everybody
Well,
got
that
Denver.
was cheating. That was that was not fair.
What do you mean everyone got Denver? You only did the top 10. There were 20-plus teams it could have been.
Fair.
Okay. We got to take a break here on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Very excited to chat with Jeff Levering about your Milwaukee Brewers, who won again last night. Talk to him about what's going on with the Brew Crew right after this on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy continues next on 94.5 ESPN.
Delays across the system this morning. In addition, we've also got a new crash just in. It's on 894 North, just past the Oklahoma Avenue ramp. There's a crash that looks like it's on the right side of the road as you head north, so we've got delays stretching from that point down past Beloit Road right now. Also still have that crash from earlier on the right shoulder, 43 North at Hampton. This is involving 2 white pickup trucks. Not a whole lot of urgency cleaning any of this up, and it's out of the way of traffic, but 43 South is going to be slow from about Good Hope all the way down past Capitol Drive. 43 North, meanwhile, is slow from Fond du Lac Avenue up to about Center Street. 4145, meanwhile, still a slow go from Appleton Avenue all the way down south of Capitol, and then north from Watertown Plank Road up to about Burleigh. And 94 east and west between 84th and 27th Streets through the stadium, that's going to be a slow go as well. Traffic is brought to you by Racine Danish Kringles. Order Dad Kringle for Father's Day at Kringle.com. Have it shipped right to Dad. Kringle.com. Racine Danish Kringles. Not just a treat, it's a tradition. And check in the Storm Team forecast for today. Warm, breezy, and humid with rain and storms late and a high of 83. Rain continuing overnight and a low of 56. Weather is brought to you by Avondale Roofing. It's baseball season. Don't let a leaky roof strike you out. Hit a home run with Avondale Roofing, Wisconsin's top choice for quality and protection. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Adam Roberts on 94.5 ESPN.
Evan Cohen here. We all know breakfast is an important part of your day, but when you're traveling for work and your hotel doesn't offer any, you're forced to make do with peanuts and an energy bar as you sprint off to your shift. But if you book a room at La Quinta by Wyndham, you can enjoy their free Bright Side breakfast featuring delicious baked goods, fruit, eggs, yogurt, and waffles. They refuse to let you go to work hungry and aim to send you off fueled up. Tonight, La Quinta, tomorrow you shine. Book direct at LQ.com.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty here. It's time to turn things up a notch. This summer, don't binge watch shows, binge s'mores by the campfire. Press pause on the podcast and press play on warm weather vibes. Here's your chance to win $10,000 for your ultimate summer. What are you waiting for? Take a shot with 5-Hour Energy and make this summer your best summer ever. Visit 5HEshot.com for full details and rules to enter today. No purchase necessary. Ends June 30th, 2025.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
This is Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
What operating system does a Chewy computer run on?
I believe it's a Cat 14.
It's a COS. It's a Chewy operating system.
I was thinking Windows 98.
Yeah, I mean, very similar.
It's dial-up. Let me get my modem.
Chewy.
On 94.5 ESPN.
There's a fly ball into center. Sending Friedel back all the way back and gone again for Yelich. He's got the Baker's dozen, and the hitting streak is up to 9 games.
Christian Yelich has been hot, avoids a scare. We got a scare, but avoids a long-term injury. And the Brewers are now winners of 8 straight. So we bring in Jeff Levering to give us everything we need to know about the Brew Crew right now. Good morning, Jeff. Thanks for joining us. How you doing today?
Doing great. Good morning, everybody. Great to be with you.
Can't complain at all, right? Things are going so well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you wake up in the morning after 8 straight wins and you feel like you're going to win the day just by opening your eyes. That's a good thing.
What is the biggest difference between the team right now and a few weeks ago when people were wondering if they could really make some noise this season?
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, the sky was falling, right? And teams not scoring runs. They get shut out 6 times in the first 17 days in the month of May. Now they've got 12 wins in the last 15 ball games, including the 8 in a row. And by the way, the 12 wins in the last 15 ball games, all by different starting pitchers. Everybody, it's all different people who've got wins. It's crazy. 12 different people have contributed to this stretch on the mound. I'd say the biggest thing is, and we were kind of joking around on the broadcast last night, me and Tim, but it's like that Happy Gilmore line where it's up and down and around. It's circular. Everybody in the offense is working together, right? It's not just one person. It's not Rhys Hoskins doing everything. It's not Jackson Chourio doing everything. It's everybody getting involved. You're getting something out of the left side of the infield with Durbin and with Joey Ortiz, and Christian Yelich has come on, of course. Jake Bauers is getting big hits. I mean, everybody is contributing to this stretch right now. And it makes it really tough for opposing pitching staffs to go and navigate through a lineup when there aren't necessarily any holes.
Jeff, why does StatCast hate Christian Yelich? Because I was at the game. I was at the game when he hit the walk-off grand slam. And when I found out, I could not wait to get on my phone and go, oh, how 400 feet? There's no way that thing was only 400 feet. And then last night he hits a bomb off the batter's eye that apparently only went 417. So clearly StatCast is just biased against Christian Yelich.
I have no idea how. We were talking about that after the game last night. We were having a couple of cold beverages, me and the radio guys and Tommy Thrall, who does the Cincinnati broadcast on the radio. And we were sitting there going, there's no way that that's 417 feet.
Right?
It's 400 feet to the wall itself. And that ball hit above the camera area on the batter's eye. So that's at least another 40 feet right there. So you're looking minimum 440. And then we started having a conversation about a home run Keon Broxton hit, which would have been in 17-ish, something like that in St. Louis, where it was originally measured at 495 feet. It was the longest home run in Busch Stadium 3's history. But because it wasn't hit by a Cardinal, the Cardinals went in and cooked the books and made it like 465. But it was measured originally at 495 feet. I don't know why StatCast hates Christian Yelich. I don't think they hate Christian Yelich because his exit velocity is still good, but they got to get some distance control. What about the one in Colorado? How's that 499 and not 500 feet 2 years ago?
Right?
Come on, man. Come on.
I think there's a conspiracy, and you need to get to the bottom of it, Jeff, in your spare time.
This sounds like a really good off-season project for me.
Jeff, I know we're about a month out. I know we're about a month out from the All-Star game, but who do you think's got a good chance at making that roster?
I think that you got a pretty good opportunity for William Contreras behind the plate. I think Freddie Peralta's having a great season. He could be and should be an All-Star. Trevor McGill is going to have a really good opportunity to make the All-Star game the way that he's been throwing the ball out of the bullpen. I would say that those guys are probably front and center in terms of All-Stars. You look around the league, and there's just so much talent at every different position. Most of them play for the Dodgers or the Padres, but at the same time, or even the Phillies. But I feel like Contreras and McGill and Peralta, those are probably your 3 front runners for the All-Star game. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Everybody's going to get represented. I do know that.
Jeff Levering hanging out with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning. We were talking about Yelich a few moments ago, also named National League Player of the Week yesterday. And it was his first since 2019, which is great for him, but also, wow, what a stretch. What have you seen that is the biggest difference between this version of Yelich and the one that we have seen for, the last 5 years?
He's just on time, Jen, and it's a big thing in baseball, especially when hitting. It's just being on time, and it felt like that it took him some extra beats to get his body right. And I know he had the back surgery last year, and he came into spring training and was feeling healthy and had a normal-ish off season. But it just felt like he was late on a lot of pitches, especially fastballs, and there are still some times where he's a little behind on fastballs. But he is demolishing off-speed pitches right now. The home run he hit last night was on a breaking ball. A couple of home runs that he hit in Philadelphia were on breaking balls, one against a lefty. He's just on time. He's getting that front foot down, so it allows his hips to unlock and the bat's falling through. He's not hitting a bunch of ground balls to second base and to first base anymore. And I think another part of this, too, is that he's DH'd a ton. He hasn't played the field. And when you take on that role as an everyday DH, you can get lost in your own mind because you don't have another thing to go do, go play defense to get your mind off of what your at-bat was. I think he's really starting to figure out how to navigate, okay, if I just got out, what am I going to do between this at-bat and the next at-bat so I'm not stewing on being upset that I just got out? Or, okay, I just hit a home run. How can I keep the good vibes going? It's a big game of mental gymnastics, being a DH in Major League Baseball. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not just roll out of bed and hit. You have to really navigate the mental side of it. And I think he's starting to figure out what that looks like 2 months in.
Jeff, despite all the injuries to the pitching staff, that's still been solid through the first couple of months of the season here. The bullpen has been asked to do a lot. Is some of the pressure going to be taken off of them with the return of Jose Quintana and whenever Brandon Woodruff comes back? I know he's got another rehab start tonight, but he's expected back sooner rather than later at this point.
I tell you what, it has been remarkable what that pitching staff has been able to do. Every time Logan Henderson has taken the ball, now he's down in the minor leagues, but every time he's thrown the ball, it's been outstanding. Chad Patrick has done the same thing. Everybody that the Brewers have brought up from the minor leagues and has started a ball game for the Brewers, it's been remarkable. And they've used 12 different starting pitchers. That includes the openers. I think having Quintana back eases things up on the bullpen a bit. They were taxed in that month of May, and you could tell towards the middle part of the month of May that they were starting to really feel it, and that was not something that was going to be sustainable. But now they're in a position where they've got some off days that they can stack. What they did in Philadelphia, what they did last night. I mean, it's a really good situation to be in for the bullpen. Having Quintana back helps. You know, you're going to have to cover some innings from Brandon Woodruff. It's not like he's going to be able to come in and, all right, here's 7-8 innings every time he goes out. You're going to have to protect him a little, and you don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back. And hopefully he comes back sooner rather than later, maybe even this homestand. But the bullpen's ready, and again, I do think that they're in a better position. They have some versatility back there with D.L. Hall and Aaron Ashby, and guys who can go multiple innings out of the bullpen. I think the bullpen is in pretty good shape, especially for when these guys come back. It's really starting to look like what the Brewers thought it was going to look like come spring training.
Jeff, how many consecutive wins does it take to start talking Moneyball and what the Oakland A's did?
Oh, my gosh, that's so far away. I'm in George Webb land right now. Let's get to George Webb burgers. And then we can start getting into Scott Hatterberg and Moneyball and Justice and all those. Okay, and let's get to George Webb's and get everybody burgers first before we get going that. And that hasn't happened since 2018. Remember, that's the last time the Brewers got to the George Webb number, and it took a couple of wins in the playoffs to get there. So hopefully they're on track there. I know it's tough to do. It's tough to win a Major League Baseball game, and let alone to do it 8 straight games or hopefully tonight 9. But let's get to burgers first before we start worrying about what's going on with the A's.
And that's 12 straight wins, right? That hasn't changed. The George Webb thing, is it still 12 straight wins? Sorry, that was tricky to say, by the way. The 12 straight wins really gave my
it's early.
Gave my tongue a workout. I do want to talk about, though, the baseball season is so long, and we always talk about, not getting too high and not getting too low. I have told the guys I'm throwing that away. I want to ride and die with this team and live and die by every pitch as the season goes on because I don't want to miss it. Right? I don't want to sit there and go, well, I waited until the postseason and now I missed the whole season. So when you sweep a team like the Phillies, like they did this past weekend, how much difference do you see as far as pep in the step of the guys? How much difference is there in the locker room? How do they internalize a milestone like that?
I think that they, as much as they want to stay in the moment, and they have to, right? As you mentioned, you have so many games and you can't live and die on every single game or every at-bat or every pitch. It's hard to do that. I use the phrase flush it a lot. When I was in high school, we had a coach that bought us all miniature toilets. And if something happened where you didn't like it, you got frustrated, you would go in there and you just go, all right, go flush it. And we literally had to go flush a toilet. But it was a nice mental exercise of don't worry about it. It's okay. You just flush it. It's all, you just move on and you move forward. You have to do that in the sport of baseball more than I feel like any other sport because it happens so much. It's tough to do in golf. It's tough to do in football on a bad play. It's tough to do when you miss a shot, but you have to try and do it. But for a team to go in and sweep Philadelphia, and Rock says this all the time on the TV broadcast, it's not necessarily who you play, but when you play them. And for the circumstance of sweeping the Red Sox, they did it without Alex Bregman, right? And with the Phillies, they had no Bryce Harper. But you still have to play the schedule. You still have to win those ball games. You get a lot of confidence when you go into Philadelphia after you got swept there in 2024 in a bunch of close games. And then you go out there and you never allowed that Philadelphia crowd to get into it. That was a huge part of it, right? They had 40,000 people every single day, and you had this opportunity to really quiet them, and you go out there and you punch them in the mouth, especially on Saturday when you put up 17 runs. And that crowd was never in it over the course of 3 days. So you can take that momentum into a series. Now, you're not going to have 40,000 people probably combined in the 3 games we're in Cincinnati, but you've got the biggest homestand coming up. You've got serious contenders coming in with the Padres, the Braves, and the Cardinals for days. You're trying to ride that momentum as much as you can, and getting a big sweep against Philadelphia can go a long way, I feel like.
These things get broken up in the baseball season. You always have those milestones. And with the injuries that we had that you just talked about in the pitching staff, at least I was thinking, okay, get through some of these injuries around 500, start making your move. And I think that's what we're starting to see now. But at this point in the season, we're still a little less than 2 months away from the trade deadline. Where would they have to be in 6 weeks in order for them to seriously start thinking about, okay, what can we add to this team to make a push?
Yeah, I mean, within striking distance, and they're definitely within striking distance. You got another series with the Cubs before the trade deadline comes around, go down to Wrigley in the middle of this month before we go to Minnesota on the next road trip. But it's just as long as you're in striking distance to give yourself an opportunity, right? That's what you want. And now that there's no more waiver claim, trade deadline, non-waiver deadline in September, you have to make a push at the end of July and the beginning of August. And that's a tough thing to do because you can't account for any injuries or anything like that over the next 2 months of the regular season. I think that they're in a pretty good spot. They're getting their guys back. They've shown that they have very good depth in the minor leagues, especially on the pitching side of things. So if they're going to make a move, it's probably not going to be on the pitching side. It would be more on the offensive side of things, maybe the left side of the infield. You just never know. You never know. But as long as they're in striking distance, they're always going to err on the side of being aggressive, it feels like.
Jeff, before we let you go, a little bit of fun here. This morning we were talking about a gentleman in Canada who bought his girlfriend a lottery ticket. They end up winning $3.6 million, but he didn't have an ID or a bank account to collect the money, so she collected it, put it in her bank account, and promptly disappeared.
Oh, yeah, that sounds about right, for sure. Yeah.
Your reaction.
What was the question? Well,
I was going to say your reaction. I think you gave us a good reaction.
Yeah.
How do you think this is going to shake out? He is now suing her for the money.
Yeah, but the cat doesn't have an ID or a bank account. What? First of all, I got questions about her. Why is she dating this guy who's got no ID and no bank account?
He's very lucky, apparently.
Is that not,
No.
Yeah, seriously. And he's got the stones to sue her because she's giving him a handout? Come on. I'm out. She did the right thing. She's out. She's outie 3,000.
We summarized it by saying mistakes were made. Okay?
Yeah, mistakes. There were a lot of mistakes. And now she's reaping the benefits of it.
Jeff, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you again soon. Look forward to hearing your call on the game.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
Jeff Levering, great stuff there about your Milwaukee Brewers, who are absolutely on a tear right now. It has been fun to watch, and we will continue watching them this season. Hopefully they will continue to do well. Potawatomi Casino Hotel is known for its endless ways to win. Friday, June 27th, they are showing why that is the standard with the highly anticipated season finale of Blockbuster Drawings. Watch your entries from Enchanted Spins, Unreal Treasures, and Boundless Bounty roll into drawings, where $300,000 in cash and prizes is up for grabs. Be there to win your share June 27th only at Potawatomi. More information is available online. You must be 21 years old to play.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today. More Jen, Gabe, and Chewy coming up on 94.5 ESPN.
Rivals meet again when the Brewers battle the Cardinals June 12th through the 15th. Come for a duel between the Contreras brothers on the diamond and stay for one of the best weekends of summer. It's Tropical Day, Saturday, June 14th, featuring a Brewers straw hat with special tickets. Then take Dad to the Father's Day game for a Barrelman cooler giveaway on June 15th. It doesn't get any better than this. Get in on the action at Brewers.com.
Forget average. At Exterior Pros, they bring the heat. They're not here to meet standards, they're here to smash them. From the first swing of the hammer to the final reveal, they're leveling up your home with every window, every shingle, and every single detail. This isn't just a remodel, it's a glow up for your house. Built tough, built beautiful, built to turn heads. Want in? Let's go. Lock in your project now and save $3,000. Exterior Pros, where bold meets built. Trust the pros and visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274.
It's happened again. Another local organization switching to business technology from James Imaging Systems. This time, it's St. Anne Center for Intergenerational Care. CFO Sally Parente.
We were unhappy with our previous vendor. It was always a big production. We also had some issues with pricing.
And now with James Imaging Systems,
the service, the value, and the ease with which we can just keep using their service and not having any big headaches. We're getting value here as well.
Just what you'd expect from James Imaging Systems, a 100% Wisconsin-owned and managed company. AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, and digital transformation.
I love that they're a local company. They've been a wonderful business partner for St. Anne Center.
Make the switch to James Imaging Systems. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Don't scroll past summer. Experience it live at Summerfest, because it's more than just a music festival. It's your summer highlight reel. Don't miss Summerfest, June 19th to July 5th. Presented by American Family Insurance. Get tickets at summerfest.com.
The Protect the Package golf outing takes place on August 16th at Ironwood Golf Course. Come be a part of the most unique outing in the state while helping loved ones battle cancer. Proceeds benefit the This Time Tomorrow Foundation. Sign up your foursome at thistimetomorrow.org under the Events tab.
Hey, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Buying a roof, siding, or windows can feel overwhelming. Hidden costs, confusing contracts. We don't play that game. We educate you so you can decide. And when you know the facts, Infinity Exteriors is the clear choice. Since 1997, we've installed peace of mind with no surprise upcharges, flexible budgets, and immediate financing. Infinity Exteriors, saving our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Visit infinityexteriors.com.
You're listening to Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
You got to have a condiment with the bread.
Yeah, you want
can't
some
eat the
sort
bread
of
alone.
Yeah, you want some sort of lubricant with the bread. Yes, that's correct.
Yes,
it's just necessary.
You follow?
Like, you don't just be sitting there eating like pieces of white bread with nothing on it.
Can't be going dry.
Yeah, can't be raw dog and just white bread.
On 94.5 ESPN.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. Yesterday was a tough day, guys. You probably saw the news that one of my former colleagues at the network died by suicide after a lengthy battle with depression. For Mental Health Awareness Month, BetterHelp surveyed 16,000 people across 23 countries for its first ever State of Stigma report. They found that while 75% of people believe it is wise to seek support, only 27% of Americans are in therapy. And perhaps therapy would be the difference between some people who we have lost being here and not being here, which is why we are so adamant about this message, which is why we are pushing it so heavily. We believe that therapy helps. We believe that therapy makes a difference. We believe that we are all better with help. Visit BetterHelp.com/timeout to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/timeout. There are 35,000 therapists. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform. They've served more than 5 million people globally. If you or someone you love is struggling with their mental health, push them in this direction. Point them in this direction. We're all better with help. It's BetterHelp.com/timeout for 10% off your first month. Seems like the Jordan Love conversation will continue. I just saw them discussing it on Get Up this morning about has Jordan Love regressed? If you take one thing from the conversation that we have had here this morning, Gabe, what do you hope people take away from this conversation, which, again, is not just a Wisconsin thing. It is being discussed globally, nationally.
Don't get lost in the, I don't know why we...
The rhetoric?
Yes, why we decided to, has he regressed? I don't know if that was the question that was initially asked last week of Jordan, of Matt LaFleur. Let's instead focus on, does Jordan Love need to be better? Can we focus on that?
I don't like the word regressed. He just didn't have the kind of year he had the year before, which I guess is the definition of regressed. I just don't like regressed.
Because I think everyone will agree, Chu. I mean, I think we all agree. He needs to be better for the Packers to win this division, not be a 7 seed, host playoff games, get to an NFC championship game. Like if those are all the things the Packers want as goals, as accomplishments in 2025, their quarterback needs to play better.
Yes.
Not that he played bad last year. He just needs to be better than... Right? He had a good season last year. He needs to be better than good in order because good quarterbacks don't win Super Bowls.
Well, you could probably say the same for the top 5 quarterbacks that have great years and then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a little more consistent. Bring it closer to where you were 2 years ago as opposed to this past year. Because you're not gonna top everything every year. That's why there's a different MVP most times every year. Right? Just bring it closer together. Not as big a swing.
Yeah, we understand as a unit, growth is not linear. It is not always going to go up, up, up as far as your trajectory goes. However, in order for the Packers to achieve the goals, and we have said this, but I want to be clear because it feels like it is getting misinterpreted, misrepresented. In order for them to be where they want to be, he has to be better. Yes. And that's the expectation from the most important player, the most important position on the field. Wilde and Tausch is next. Can't imagine that they somehow weave their way around this one today on Wilde and Tausch. Stick around on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee.
If you're traveling west on 94 this morning into Jefferson County near Lake Mills, just past Highway 89, we have a full freeway closure right now. This is due to what the DOT is calling a, quote, broken down vehicle. However, there's multiple squad cars and emergency response vehicles on the scene of this incident. Your nearest exit point will be